Link TV presents Mosaic World News from the Middle East. Here are today's top stories.
Obama calls for a diplomatic solution with Iran. Palestinian rivals agree to form an Abbas-led unity government. And another Bahraini killed by toxic tear gas fired into his house. Mosaic World News from the Middle East begins now.
حذر الرئيس الأمريكي باراك أوباما من أخطار كبيرة تترتب على أي هجوم.
American President Barack Obama warned of great risks if there's a military attack on Iran. He expressed his wish for a diplomatic solution to the crisis related to the Iranian nuclear program. In Iran, the deputy head of the Revolutionary Guards, General Hossein Salami, warned that his country's forces will attack any country from which the flames of war on Iran are launched.
The message might have reached Washington and its allies that the Persian Gulf region is no longer open for them to come and go as they please, to flex their muscles. And with the presence of Iran's growing force, it is no longer possible to disregard the country as it is ready for those tempted to attack it. And it seems it is for this reason that American President Barack Obama made statements ruling out that the Israeli occupation entity has decided to attack Iran's nuclear facilities. Obama expressed his desire to solve the crisis around Iran's nuclear program through diplomatic means.
I don't think that Israel has made a decision on what they need to do. I think they, like us, believe that Iran has to stand down on its nuclear weapons program. But again, our goal is to solve this diplomatically.
In an interview with the American channel NBC, Obama warned of the great risks that must be considered before militarily attacking Iran. He said he does not want more conflict in the oil-rich region. He considered any additional military activity to be problematic for the U.S. As for Tel Aviv, it is aware that it is weaker than a spider's web, lacking the most basic strategic military defense elements, as made clear in its latest wars on Gaza and Lebanon. So it has backpedaled on suggestions by some of its officials that the decision has been made to attack Iran. Knesset Foreign Affairs and Defense Chairman Shaul Mofaz described public statements by Israeli officials on the possibility of attacking Iran as irresponsible. He confirmed the need to take objective decisions. This comes as Israeli Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman is on a trip to Washington to meet with his counterpart Hillary Clinton and members of the U.S. Congress to discuss their stance on Iran. Turkish Foreign Minister Ahmet Davutoglu warned against Israeli officials threatening to beat the drums of war in the confrontation with Iran. He said launching an attack on the country will be a catastrophe. This comes as Deputy Head of the Revolutionary Guards, General Hossein Salami, threatened that any piece of land used by the enemy to launch an operation against Iran will be the target of a revenge attack by the Iranian armed forces. On the sidelines of the ground maneuvers in southern Iran, Salami confirmed that any site from which the flames of war and aggression on the Islamic Republic are initiated will be subjected to a response by the Iranian forces. This warning leaves no room to doubt that war will not be limited to one area if Iran is attacked. And this explains the clear hesitation around the decision to launch war.
Incoming Air Force Chief Amir Eshel said that the Iranian drive to achieve nuclear capability, while at the same time attempting to undermine sovereign countries around the world, must be stopped. He was speaking to foreign diplomats and journalists at the Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs before the announcement of his new appointment. Major General Eshel will be charged with the responsibility of carrying out an attack on the Islamic Republic if the order is given.
Iran fights not just Israel, others on a daily basis in many dimensions. One is terror, one is political, economic, whatever. Ask yourself, they have their long arm named Quds forces. What are they doing in South America? What are they doing in Nigeria? What are they everywhere? And people tend to think, well, maybe, Iran is focused on the region. They live in the region, they have aspirations of regional hegemony, but they're working everywhere. Ask some of our other players in the region how they feel about this Iranian strangle on daily basis that come from underground, come from here, come from there, in every aspect. So it's terror, it's an economic issue, legal issues, political issues, etc., etc., etc. This is an ongoing campaign, which we change our first way of seeing that and preparing ourselves to deal in that campaign, because we were built to protect the borders, and that's it. Right now there's an ongoing campaign that must be addressed. Must be.
Joining us now in the studio to discuss the significance of recent statements coming from Washington is Kalev Ben-David, senior Israel correspondent for Bloomberg News. Kalev, thanks so much for coming in tonight.
Pleasure to be here.
President Obama said Israel had not yet decided what to do about Iran. He stressed that Washington and Jerusalem are on the same page. Just a few days ago, though, Obama's defense chief said he thought Israel might attack Iran in the spring. Are they on the same page?
I think not, maybe about whether a strike. I mean, I think there's a little too much talk right now about whether a strike is imminent or not. I don't think clearly at this time it is. But I think on the question of sanctions, the timing of the sanctions, they're not on the same page. Israeli officials have said that they are not satisfied that the sanctions that were passed by the European Union, which are against Iranian oil exports and the central bank, only go in effect in July. For Israel, that's too late. They want to see those sanctions or similar type sanctions moved up earlier, because you have to give them some time to take effect. And there's concern in Israel, as Defense Minister Barak said, that Israel's nuclear facilities may be entering the so-called immunity zone. So no, there is disagreement. That's what a lot of the discussions about. Israel wants to see if they can get those sanctions moved up, or have the U.S. press the Europeans to take some action sooner.
In Obama's early administration, there seemed to be some tension, to say the least, with Israel or with the Prime Minister Netanyahu. We still have the same Prime Minister, but in the last few months, we have a new friendlier Obama. What's going on?
Well, Yochanan, you know as well I do, in one word, elections. There are U.S. elections, presidential elections in November. There is some concern, even though a Jewish vote, really a tiny, tiny percentage, generally in any normal election has no bearing whatsoever. But this year people are looking at states like Florida, maybe being a key state. And of course, Obama wants to be very careful. Even there have been American officials even said this even openly at some times, that there is concern about that. That's why you're not seeing the U.S. pressing the Prime Minister the way they've had in the past, especially even on the Palestinian issue.
جرى في العاصمة القطرية الدوحة التوقيع على إعلان الدوحة.
In the Qatari capital, the Doha Declaration was signed following talks between Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and the head of the Hamas Political Bureau, Khaled Mashal, under the auspices of the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani. The announcement stipulates that the PA's president, Mahmoud Abbas, will lead an interim unity government that will oversee the elections.
وفي أول رد فعل إسرائيلي على إعلان الدوحة قال رئيس
In the first Israeli reaction to the Doha announcement, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas is choosing to abandon the path of peace by signing an agreement with Hamas. During a Likud ministers' meeting, Netanyahu said that Abbas must choose between reconciliation with Hamas and the path of peace with Israel. Palestinian factions welcomed the signing of the Doha agreement, stressing the importance of forming an interim government that is capable of preparing for presidential, legislative, and national council elections. However, some factions expressed reservations, most notably the ability of the Fatah and Hamas movements to implement the agreement. The Palestinian public has cautiously welcomed the deal.
It's the good news Palestinians have been waiting for since the signing of the Cairo reconciliation deal 9 months ago. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas was nominated to head a new government, following an extensive debate over Salam Fayyad's candidacy to head the new interim government. The Palestinian street has cautiously welcomed the deal, amid varying opinions over the elections.
It's not important who will lead the newly formed government. What's important is to end the division in Palestine.
No steps to prepare for the elections are being taken on the ground. We, the Palestinian people, demand a democratic solution, as it's the best option in dealing with our cause.
Amid caution, Palestinian factions that didn't sign the agreement said they welcome any step toward the path to reconciliation.
What's important is to form this interim government and to hold elections within 90 days of its formation, as mandated by law.
However, some factions expressed reservations amid fears over the failure to implement the latest agreement.
I have two concerns. First, I am warning against turning this deal into yet another paper with no serious intention to implement it. Second, I was hoping that this announcement would be issued from Cairo.
Although we were not part of this government and not part of this division, we are keen to preserve Palestinian interests and the restructuring of our internal front. What's important is to end the crisis.
The Palestinian people hope the deal will help resolve more outstanding issues, similar to the breakthrough witnessed in the detainees file, in which dozens of political prisoners were freed. They also hope that the newly formed committees will be able to solve social reconciliation issues, as well as passport and freedom of travel issues. A new obstacle was removed from the path to reconciliation, an indication that some of the biggest challenges, which lasted for months and even years, could be resolved by displaying a real political will and by continuing to move forward on the path to unity. Shireen Abu Akleh, Al-Jazeera, occupied Ramallah.
Now, in Bahrain, another person has died from inhaling tear gas fired at him and his family by Saudi-backed forces. Ali Abdullah was killed when regime forces fired tear gas into his house several days ago. Meanwhile, clashes between regime forces and protesters continue for another day outside the capital, Manama. Activists say clashes with Saudi-backed forces are an order of the day. They say the clashes erupt after police officers attack peaceful protesters. Thousands of people have taken to the streets across the country. They're calling for the ouster of the king. The rallies are expected to continue until the 14th of February. That marks the start of the popular revolution. Since last year, dozens of people have been killed and hundreds more arrested. People in Yemen have taken to the streets across the country, including the capital Sana'a, calling for the prosecution of embattled ruler Ali Abdullah Saleh. Yemenis blame Saleh and his aides for the killing of nearly 2,000 protesters since their revolution began last year. The protesters also demand that the international community help them get rid of Saleh, who's on a trip to the US for what's being labelled as a medical visit. Saleh left Sana'a as soon as Parliament passed a bill granting him full immunity from prosecution. The Yemeni people have slammed the law, calling it illegal. Israeli forces have arrested 4 Israeli activists trying to stop the demolition of a Palestinian property in East Jerusalem, Al-Quds. A bulldozer hired by the Israeli municipality cleared the land in Al-Tur neighborhood for a new national park. Some Israeli NGOs say the park's construction is politically motivated. They accuse Tel Aviv of trying to block the development of impoverished and overcrowded Palestinian neighborhoods. Rights groups and international organizations, including the UN, have called on Israel to end such demolitions.
In Egypt, efforts to appease the public have failed. Clashes were renewed last night between the revolutionaries and security forces near the Interior Ministry in Cairo. The police fired tear gas at the protesters, who responded by throwing stones at the ministry's building. In turn, hundreds of riot policemen shut down the roads leading to the site. Angry youth threw stones and Molotov cocktails in a number of streets leading to the area. Also in Egypt, an order was issued to transfer former Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak to Tora prison and the figureheads of his regime to 5 other prisons. Sources in Egypt's Interior Ministry revealed that the Interior Minister ordered the prison hospital of Tora to anticipate the arrival of Mubarak, who has been detained in the International Medical Center. However, Interior Ministry Deputy for Prison Sector Major General Mohammed Naguib indicated the process of preparing the prison may take more than 2 months. In addition, the minister issued a decision to transfer 41 figureheads of the former regime to 5 central prisons. Today, 40 Egyptians and foreigners were brought to the Cairo Criminal Court on charges of providing illegal foreign funds to non-governmental organizations in the name of spreading democracy. The nationalities of those placed on trial were not immediately revealed. They were barred from traveling due to their involvement in the case. It is expected for the details of the defendants on trial to be revealed today, including their names, allegations against them, and details of their illegal funds, according to the investigating judge.
The U.S. Embassy in the Syrian capital Damascus informed other diplomatic delegations that it closed down its doors and suspended its mission. The American ambassador to Damascus, Robert Ford, left the country, announcing the suspension of all the embassy's operations. The U.S. Embassy requested the Syrian authorities shut down the street on which the embassy is located, between the squares of Malki and Rawda, out of security concerns. Damascus rejected the request, prompting the U.S. administration to threaten to shut down its embassy, which was finally done today. This comes as U.S. President Barack Obama vowed to implement sanctions and intensify the pressure on President Bashar al-Assad's government to step down. However, he said it is possible to resolve the Syrian crisis without foreign military intervention. The U.S. President expressed his belief that it is imperative to try to find a solution without resorting to foreign military intervention. He added that it is possible to do so. Obama made these statements in an interview aired today by the American NBC network. The Syrian Revolution's General Commission said the death toll in Syria rose to 67 people, including women and children. Most were killed in Homs. Regime forces shelled a number of neighborhoods in Homs with artilleries and rockets, including Bab Amr, Al-Insha'at, and Al-Khalidiyya. For its part, Syria's state-run TV said what it referred to as terrorist groups bombed the gas pipeline that passes through the Talbisa region near Homs.
Activists say the neighborhoods of Homs, including Bab Amir, Al-Khalidiyya, Al-Insha'at, Bab al-Siba, and Bab Drib, are enduring the most violent shelling they have witnessed since the uprising against Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's regime began 11 months ago. According to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, dozens were killed in the city this morning, and many more were wounded. Some are in critical condition. Activists say artillery and rocket shelling struck the field hospital and aimed to kill the largest number of people.
They used rocket launchers and mortar shells. Snipers are heavily stationed in most of the neighborhoods, targeting any moving object. The city has in fact turned into a ghost town. Neighborhoods such as Karm al-Zaytun were shelled. The shelling was also concentrated in the neighborhoods of Al-Bayada, Al-Khalidiyya, Dir Balbi, Bab Drib, as well as the town of Taldaw and Al-Hawla city. Dozens of martyrs were killed in the city.
As far as the besieged city of Al-Zabadani in the countryside of Damascus, it witnessed shelling that led to a number of deaths and massive damage to its buildings. Regime forces have been attempting to storm the city for several days. However, the fierce resistance by the defectors prevented them from entering the city.
For days, they have been trying to storm the city. Defected soldiers were fending them off, disrupting their attack and destroying their armored vehicles, inflicting many casualties on the Syrian regime's army, which hindered their attempt to storm the city. However, today they started storming the city from the eastern mountain. Until this moment, we don't know the extent of resistance they are facing.
Not far from al-Zabadani, specifically in the town of Dariyah, tanks violently stormed and shelled the town. Clashes between members of what is known as the Free Syrian Army and the regime's army can still be heard in these areas, which seems to be a main platform for battles aimed at taking control of the region near the capital. In this context, Brigadier General Mustafa al-Sheikh, who defected from the regime's army, announced the formation of what he named the Higher Revolutionary Military Council to liberate Syria.
Brigadier General Mustafa al-Sheikh has defected from the Syrian Arab Army. However, he has not declared he will join the Free Syrian Army. We do not share his vision in terms of the formation of the council. He did not consult us in the matter either.
This comes as Damascus asserts the storming of the city was carried out by infantrymen without the use of artilleries, with the aim of cleansing the areas of what Damascus referred to as members of armed terrorist groups. Supporters of Damascus say these terrorists are directly responsible for the shelling.
The Syrian people no longer want to remain silent about these armed groups that have violated all religions, sects, customs, and traditions. Therefore, the Syrian government acted with its soldiers, but only with the infantrymen, not through shelling.
Meanwhile, Syria's state-run TV reported an explosion took place when those referred to as terrorists were preparing explosive devices in a building in Al-Khalidiyya neighborhood of Homs, killing a number of them. Hayan Akoub, BBC.
French President Nicolas Sarkozy said France and Germany cannot accept the blocking of the international community's resolution on Syria after Russia and China vetoed a draft resolution at the Security Council that condemns the repression in Syria. Sarkozy said at a joint press conference with German Chancellor Angela Merkel that he would make phone calls to Russian President Dmitry Medvedev this afternoon to inform him of his and Merkel's position. The German Chancellor called on Moscow to carefully assess the consequences of its decisions.
Some defectors from Syria's intelligence agencies revealed information they have on Lebanese detainees in Syria, including a Falange official, Boutros Kawand. The information circulating in media networks drew the attention of the kidnapped man's family members, who can only hope for the best. Susan Dabouk reports.
News reports circulated information on Lebanese citizens kidnapped and detained in Syria. This information was revealed by defectors from Syria's intelligence, especially those who worked in its Palestinian branch, a security agency in charge of capturing anti-regime dissidents. The reports include the member of the Falange Party's political bureau, Boutros Kawand, who was abducted near a checkpoint set up by the Syrian forces in Tin el-Fil. His wife, Jeanette Kawand, revives their memories together through his pictures, hoping the foreign ministry will take action on the matter.
We have old information confirming that Boutros is there. New information emerged confirming that Boutros is indeed in a Syrian prison.
Is he being held at the Palestinian branch?
He was moved to several branches. The last branch was Tudmar. I don't know where he is now. They might have moved him again.
You contacted President Gemayel. What was the answer from the Phalanges?
They told us they're investigating the matter. The Foreign Ministry formed a committee that was sent to Libya to look for missing leader Musa al-Sadr. They also did their best to bring back the detained Lebanese in Israeli prisons. Some of them came back in body bags. They must form a Lebanese committee to look for the detainees held in Syrian jails.
The son of Boutros, Rabia Kawand, said they are putting their hopes on changes in Syria because President Bashar al-Assad's regime has not provided them any information about his father.
As far as the situation in Syria is concerned, I hope that it will be on the path of change, which makes us more hopeful. God willing, he will be fine and he will return safely.
Lebanese Tony Riashi was kidnapped on August 31st, 1985 on his way to the airport. His wife Rabia shows this picture of him in which their son Hadi was only 1 year old. Today, the son is 26 years old and the family is still hoping for the return of the man of the house.
I was hoping they would have informed us before making an announcement on television about the case.
Did you contact any officials about the case?
It's still unclear. In the past, when we would ask for information, we would have to pay to receive it. The Lebanese state must take serious action.
This is not the first time information is revealed about Lebanese citizens kidnapped in Syria. However, inaccurate information, though considered good news, only generates confusion and concern.
The views expressed on Mosaic are from contributing broadcasters, not Link TV or its sponsors. The production of Mosaic is made possible by grants from the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, the Wincoat Foundation, the Firedoll Foundation, and by support of viewers like you. Thank you. Watch Mosaic World News online. Stay up to date with breaking news, read our blog, get transcripts of past shows and more at linktv.org/mosaic. Airwaves, a global channel of uncompromising stories. World news, documentaries, entertainment, and culture. Link TV, connecting you to the world. For more information, visit linktv.org.